Шановні журналісти, вітання. Зараз буде
Dear journalists, now we will discuss the issue how Ukraine losses its citizens in the east. And we have Larysa Artiugina, head of the NGO New Donbas, and Kostyantyn Reutskyi, coordinator of the civic initiative Vostok-SOS. I'm Larysa Artiugina, head of the NGO New Donbas, and I have Kostyantyn. I'm Kostyantyn Reutskyi. I'm co-coordinator of the civic initiative Vostok-SOS, the East SOS. We wanted to describe the 2 weeks which we spent in the east of Ukraine. There were two different projects. I will describe what we did in Nizhnya Platina and the Kenashivska schools. These are two villages, and Kostyantyn will describe what they did in Trochizbenka village in Stanichno-Lugansky district. Our project has been working for a year almost, and our objective is to support reconstruction of the schools in Donbas, and we assist in developing Ukrainian culture education in schools. The last autumn, we visited Donetsk region. This year we decided to visit Lugansk Oblast. Our partners from Vostok-SOS got united in the House of Free People, under the roof of the House of Free People, and with the support of Vostok-SOS NGO, we organized this trip. There were 15 volunteers who went to the schools in Lugansk region and worked there. We met with teachers, with the students, we became friends, and it seems to me that now we more deeply understand the problems which should be resolved. I wish Kostya to describe what they mentioned about the problems at Trochizbenka. Now about the initiative, please. Our initiative has been dealing with the contact line schools, with the schools along the contact line all the time, and we deliver humanitarian aid to the most remote front line regions. In Donetsk and Lugansk Oblast. We are familiar with the problems in this region. The previous trip, the last autumn, this was not simply not so much the humanitarian delivery as monitoring mission. It was about human rights violations and war crimes in the territories, but since we wish to remain within this humanitarian field, we decided to apply all our creativity and to focus our efforts on Trochizbenka village and try to improve the humanitarian situation in Trochizbenka and around this village, because as of today the humanitarian situation is in very crisis situation. As during previous trips, we contacted with local residents By the way, now there is further deliveries of humanitarian cargoes carried out now, just now. Speaking about our Trochizbenka project, we studied the problems there, and now I will describe the situation geographically. Trochizbenka village is in a very difficult fragment of the contact line. This is like a bridge going inside the LNR territory. It's not just Trochizbenka village. There are actually 5 villages, and out of that 5 villages, 2 of them are only nominally under control of the Ukrainian troops, and the reconnaissance groups of LNR quite often appear in those 2 villages. They are not so much visited by Ukrainian troops, and Trochizbenka residents have spent very difficult, very tough year. They spent the winter without water supply, regular centralized water supply, without electricity. We visited this village in winter, and it is very difficult. The Trochizbenka residents have no gas supplies because this pipeline should be supplied from the occupied territories. As of today, they do not know how they will be heated this winter. There is no coal production in this region. All the produced coal here is immediately transported to the CHPs. The woods, timber from the woods is also not available because there are a lot of mines put by terrorists in the forests, and people are scared to go there. Now there is less than 1,000 people in the village out of 3,000 residing there before the war. More than 300 people suffered during shelling. Up to 60 houses could not be restored. They should be constructed from scratch. The kindergarten, the school in the village, they are terribly damaged. Happily, the part of the school building is restored, and now, as of the moment, it is enough for children to start the school year. Although there are problems with the bus transportation, and people from remote villages cannot reach this school. The kindergarten is also slightly damaged. It requires reconstruction, reparation. The roof should be restored, the windows should be restored, thanks to our colleagues from the new Donbas voluntary organization. We believe that very soon they will repair the roof, and but during a long period of time, children spent their time in the local pharmacy, not in the kindergarten premises. Also, since the transport connection is damaged, there is only one small bus which is going there. In the past, local residents' economy was based on growing vegetables. Now there is no transportation, there is no connection with the mainland, and because of checkpoints, that's why they are deprived from their sources of income. There is huge unemployment. There is a big problem with the healthcare service services. There are only one junior physician who is able to provide healthcare services for all that 5 villages. He has to travel on a scooter. There is no other vehicles for transportation. What Kostyantyn described, this is very typical, very recognizable situation which we observe in many villages along the contact line. Why we have named our briefing how Ukraine loses its citizens in the East. Because the situation which exists now in the East and how that people are left alone with all their troubles, with all their hardships, results in the loss of these people. Those people are not a trouble, they are not a cancer on the body of the country. They are our citizens and they are similar to other Ukrainian citizens. And by the way, these are real patriots of Ukraine. They did not fly from their homes. They left in their land, they left in their houses, they defended and they tried to restore these houses. And the situation which we faced is really terrible. We were asked to bring even chalks to the school because they do not have chalks for writing on the blackboards. Then we realized that they have no after-class activities, some amateur activities for children, fitness activities, and by the way, when we asked, what do you need? The school principal provided me with this very strange list of things, of necessary things, and I would like to quote. They ask for the maps of the world, they ask for the stationery, the orthography dictionaries, Russian-Ukrainian dictionary, the pictures of Kiev, the ancient monuments of Kiev, the tables in Ukrainian language, chemical compounds for school exercises. They wish to create presentation materials. They wish to create the display about Ukraine, and they have no materials to display. The list provided from another school, and the school principal indicated 30 items from their kitchen, what they need for the kitchen, for the cleaning, etc. And among them, the maps of Ukraine, sports things for fitness, and also chemical compounds for chemistry, and balls for fitness, etc. And so these elementary things which have to be, which are very needed for teaching. At the same time, at the end of this meeting, which we had jointly with the school principal, with the children, with the and they invited us to make joint picture with servicemen from the checkpoint. And we were very much surprised why to have the servicemen in the picture. They explained us, you know, there is now a state program which requires us to strengthen the patriotic lessons in school, but it just came to my mind. We do not provide the schools with stationery, with necessary dictionaries, Ukrainian dictionaries, Ukrainian maps, some handouts, visual aids on Ukrainian topics, but we do not provide the schools with these things, but we require them to make pictures with Ukrainian servicemen. By the way, there is a specific attitude there towards Maidan. Having observed all this situation during the last 10 years and during the last year, there is still Russian TV channel, and they have only Russian TV channels by now. And the Victory Radio, Победа Radio from LNR. My question to the state administration, to the head of Lugansk state administration, he said, well, we have been submitting requests to the central authorities requesting that we should launch Ukrainian TV and radio channels, and nobody makes an attempt to switch on the retransmitter which we have here. I would like to ask the authorities, the Ministry of Information, to change the situation. There is a technical possibility to suppress Russian broadcasting there and to transmit Ukrainian TV channels and radio programs into this territory. There is another big problem, total absence of mobile connection and internet connection, and there is no internet connection at all in that in that village. I asked the principal whether she sees any way out, and she made a calculation that internet supply to this school would cost something around 2,000 hryvnia. This is the cost of the question, and we believe that all those problems should be raised not just by the volunteers but by the ministries. When the teachers realized that volunteers managed to collect within 3 days in Kiev and bring there very simple things like globuses, like maps, they are so happy. There were tears on their eyes, and because they were unable to see this within 10 years. In Nizhny Tepla village, there is a kindergarten which is able to accommodate 40 children, and they asked us, could you provide us with construction materials? We will do repairs with our own hands. Please bring us colors to paint. And by the way, local teachers in the kindergarten, they went to collect beads to the farm to earn money to buy color to cover the floor in the kindergarten. We hope very much that the Ministry of Education, Ministry of Information will change their policy, and the ministers will go there, have a look, and people there will be absolutely happy to see the ministers, and thus we will start our work with each citizen. We will start our communication there. Here in this room we have many volunteers. If we have time, I would ask our participants to show that training. How we ask the question, how do you imagine the ideal school of the future? There is a big poster, and at the end of the conference we will show it. Thank you very much for the presentation. It was very interesting to see whether we have any questions. If there, okay, we have questions. Good afternoon. I'm Sergey Malarchuk from UCMC. This wasn't your first visit to this region. As far as I know, Trochizbenka is a very pro-Russian village among the settlements in Luhansk Oblast, although they remain in Ukrainian territory. Whether you have noticed any positive changes towards Ukrainization, whether the views of people have changed towards Ukraine, because my information suggests that the situation remains the same, 20% pro-Ukrainian and up to 80% of counter-Ukrainian. In Trochizbenska and Stanitsa Luhanska, maybe Kostya will add. I can tell about Stanitsa Luganska because I'm the Lugansk native. From the very beginning of this conflict, I flew from Lugansk and continue my work close to the front line. As for Trochizbenka, pro-Russian moods there had always been strong there, but much lesser than in Stanitsa Luhanska. Actually, the situation has not changed. In many regions in Luhansk region, especially along the contact line, the situation has been worsening. Especially this is obvious in Stanitsa Luganska, where during shellings, people who are under stress without any informational alternative, they continue to listen to LDR radio and watch Russian television. They hear a lot of rumors which are well driven, I believe, well controlled, I believe, from Russian side, and they continue to tell legends that they are shelled by Ukrainian army, although it is obvious that 500 meters behind the river there are fire positions of LNR and from this very direction each night Stanitsa Luganska was shelled. About Stanitsa Luganska, pro-Russian influence is a bit weaker there, but the major problem here is that Ukraine and the Ukrainian government do nothing to keep these people close to Ukrainian state. We have been observing this negative trend since last summer. During many months, the government and the powers did nothing to explain. There are no representatives of Ukrainian government explaining the situation, what was going on, what was happening. There are no printed sources explaining, some leaflets, some brochures, some visual materials able to provide information and satisfy this informational gap. The sticks saying that Stanitsa Luganska is Ukraine and Trochizbenka is Ukrainian territory, they appeared quite late. Despite numerous technical possibilities and technical means, Ukrainian government did nothing to renew the broadcasting in the Ukrainian broadcasting in this territory. I believe that this is due to the traitors and betrayal among Ukrainian bureaucrats. I believe this is because the traitors work in public positions. They're the politicians who this is obvious sabotage. In autumn last year, we found the sabotage. We described the Baltseva that there were no work with local population. When week by week, people who at the moment when people hoped very much on coming back of Ukrainian troops, then listening week by week to Russian television, they became opponents of Ukraine. First, there were rallies against Ukrainian army, which demoralized them, and then there was a second conquest of the terrorists. Unfortunately, Ukrainian government do not learn these lessons, and it begins to do the same. This similar scenario continues in that territories. I spoke to Mr. Zokin, head of the district administration, and we asked how we can help. Please announce in Ukraine please provide us with old loud speakers which could be placed on the market squares and broadcast Ukrainian radio. That's why now I have this request. If you have preserved from the Second World War that loudspeakers which could be placed on Stanitsa Luganska, and thus they would be able to broadcast Ukrainian radio via these loudspeakers. I would like also request to Mr. Stets to bring one such loudspeaker to us. You may ask Taras from Stanitsa Luganska. He is in this room. In Stanitsa Luganska, we never felt any division between the languages, or there is no prejudice against Ukrainian, Russian language, or even Western Ukrainian language. Both students and teachers, they supported us. One of our volunteers, Gala, she cannot speak. She cannot speak Russian, and she made an attempt to speak to children, and they immediately said to her, Galia, you must speak Ukrainian freely, we easily understand you. There is no aggression among those people towards us. I believe that at the level of people, there is 50-50 attitude toward Ukraine, and I can easily understand these people, how they can become pro-Ukrainian if we were the first who attended Stanitsa Luganska for the first time during 24 years. They said, look, these are people from Ukraine who arrived there first time for during 24 years. Those people, when they are called separatists, they start crying. They say, we are not separatists, we remain in our homes here. Thank you very much for presentation. I believe that Stanitsa Luganska appeared on our maps due to military actions there. Let us finish now, and I hope that the Ministry of Information will hear here. The Ministry of Information will hear. Mr. Krylenko should hear this. We invite him to visit Lugansk, Stanitsa Luganska schools and to carry out patriotic lessons. I would ask our volunteers to show the ideal school and the view of Stanitsa Luganska children. There is no words patriotic lessons. Well, I will read what is funny. Good canteen, good teachers, warm school, beautiful school. They wish to have warm school, funny school. They want to have computers. They want to have a lot of sun. They want to have a TV set. They want to have a swimming pool. And they want to have respect to children and overhaul. They wish the school to be repaired. They wish they wish to have warm school. You should understand why they want to have warm and bright school, because in Stanitsa Luganska and in surrounding villages, the schools did not operate during all last year. Children got their home assignments once a week and left homes. And in Stanitsa Luganska, one of the schools was burned totally, and children were given just 2 rooms in the local newspaper premises. This village was shelled almost every night during last year. There are a lot of damaged buildings. That's why children have such very modest wish to have warm and repaired and school full of light. Actually, all the time we bring windows, but put in new winds, and having repaired the school, having repaired the floor, it's not the problem. Children need warm. They want to be happy in their childhood. They wish human warmth. They need to have some extra school activities like dancing, like singing, like playing sports, like playing music, etc. At 2 p.m. the school is closed, while we believe that the school could become a center of the community, because teachers are respected. The teachers is educated people. They could become centers, and I believe that we should not close those schools because this may ruin the entire community. By the way, when the shelling starts, everybody goes to visit school, and I believe that we will manage to create a joint project with pedagogical high schools in Ukraine, and the students of these pedagogical universities will go to Lugansk Oblast to have their practical training, and that sooner or later all these regions will be liberated from Russian troops, and we should get ready to this moment. We need to understand people who stay in their villages, they are unable to overcome all their problems. They are very much, they have very much suffered from trauma, psychological trauma. In Stanitsa Luganska, the situation is bad, while in other villages the authorities are absolutely incapable. We should request from the ministries that they should make decisive steps, big steps to resolving the situation. Civil society has no enough resources to resolve many of the issues. There should be the government which should contribute. But our authorities, our government is bureaucratic, it has a big inertia, and but nevertheless, people there needs help now. That's why we would like to ask Ukrainian society, please pay attention at this residential areas along the contact line, and let each company, each organization establish contact with the small village, small settlement along the contact line, and try to improve life of people there. Vostok-SOS invites you to participate in this Trochizbenka project, Platina, Nizhne Tepla, villages, and more 24 schools. You can bring something. We will make this lists open, maps, Kirillevska 13D, Kirillevska Street 13D. Please bring it, and in the kindergarten they have no plates, cups, dishes to cater people, and they say, please help us. Thank you for your mission, for carrying out this mission. I think it is very important to go and to provide assistance. I believe that the government bodies will provide this necessary help and assistance, and we finish this press briefing, and in some 3 minutes we will start our next briefing.